Hey gang, you know I love me some Zakk Wylde, always have, always will. I was watching the rig rundown of Zakk Wylde on the Pantera tour, and you know, you look in the back, oh, what's he using here? What's he using here? And I saw something. I saw one of Zakk Wylde's tone secrets that I was super surprised to see. And in order to really understand it, we need to go back in Zakk Wylde gear history for a while. So I'm not gonna bury the lead. Let's just take a look at what this tone secret is. The Aphex 104, Aural, Exciter, and Big Bottom. This piece is old school. This is going back to late 80s, and in the late 80s it was sort of like Aphex and BBE fighting out for aural exciting supremacy. But look at this piece. This has been around the block. This may be one of his originals. So let's go back to when Zakk Wylde joins Ozzy Osbourne. He's like 19 years old. I don't know if he had Marshalls. He never really talks about like what gear he had before then, but it was well known that Zakk Wylde was like one of the most amazing guitar players in that New Jersey era. There's interviews with the guys from Skid Row saying like, how are we supposed to compete when you go to the music store and it's like Zakk Wylde and Richie Sambora and these guys that are unreal. So Zakk was always a monster. He gets into Ozzy's band and you know, they have endless budgets. They're like, let's put together a thing. They go to the guy who was the hot Marshall modding guy at the time. His name is Lee Jackson and his company was Metaltronics or Perfect Connection. I'm not really sure, but it was Lee Jackson, Perfect Connection, designed by Lee Jackson, Metaltronics. I don't know, not really important. It's Lee Jackson, right? This is the height of rack era fever when everyone needs a cool rack. And Lee Jackson was one of the first guys making like Marshall style rack preamps. It's the GP1000. And this thing, look, I see them going on Reverb for a lot of money. It's like a JCM 800 preamp, but how about I show it to you real quick? I'm running the preamp directly into one of my TwoNotes cabs. I captured these cabs with a really nice H&H power amp. It's something like Eddie Van Halen used and stuff. So Zakk was using solid state power amps in his rig, so I feel like I could run the preamp directly into this cab. It has EVs in it, and I think we're in like a good starting point. Now, the GP1000 started life as sort of like a Fender style preamp. Lee Jackson was mentored by Paul Rivera, who is one of the great Fender mod guys. But it just started as a Fender style with Lee Jackson then later moving it into sort of a more Marshall tone. So here's a clean. It has this mid shift, which shifts the mid-range frequencies. It seemed like Zakk always had it on sort of around 3. The treble is just kind of an all or nothing. Bass is all or nothing. Not a huge difference in the bass. Now there's this pull knob for the bass. No difference. Pull treble. Almost no difference. Kind of icky sounding, right? You can't see the guitar. Let's move this. That's better. Still icky sounding. Pull distortion. Pull. Now that's a little better. All the distortion you could get out of this thing. Okay, from here on out, I'm putting on an ISP decimator noise gate. Still, blech. Zakk used the super overdrive. Let's kick that on. it just gets even more honky and mid-rangey. Like, where's the bottom on this? Just no bottom. And I know it's not broken because I've had the Lee Jackson head as well, and it sounded exactly the same as this. It's just kind of, that was the sound. It was like metal. Crank the mid-range, crank that treble, get some really bitey metal treble going on. So Zakk gets his attack rack. Look at that. He's got 3 of these Lee Jackson preamps in there. He's got an SPX 90, which we've talked about before. He has a Roland, maybe like reverb or delay. It's probably just for some ambience, you know, in there. The rest is sort of mixers and this and that. This rack evolved to where he added 2 heads of Metaltronics heads, and then I guess those were out, and he added 2 Marshall Silver Jubilee heads in there. But in all of these racks, there's a little piece of plexiglass darked out that you can't see. And behind that, there is a secret piece of Zakk Wylde gear. And in one of the early guitar magazines back in the late 80s, he mentioned what it was. It's the Aphex 104 Aural Exciter to add some big bottom to the sound. If you don't have that, you don't have the sound at all. It completes the sound. It's not just like helping it, it completes the sound. The 104 does 2 things. It has the big bottom, which is essentially just like a low shelf EQ, I believe. So you pick the frequency if you want it's just the low lows, or if you want to get up as high and get a lot of bottom end going. And then mix girth is how much of that you want in there. The Aural Exciter is like this high end tuned sort of resonance that's really not that exciting. All right, here we go. Let's start with the Aural Exciting so you could hear kind of where that sits. This is kind of where Zakk has it in his Marshall rack. Did it instantly become a Boss Metal Zone? That just reminded me of Boss Metal Zone so much. I don't know, it's really at that setting that he had, it's not doing much. A little bit of sparkly edge. Now the bottom. That's where all the bottom comes from. So what if I put it over here? Yeah, so that's too low. And that's too high. That's a bastard. That's not too bad. That kind of came together. Hey, if you love Zakk tones and don't want to deal with 40-year-old rack equipment, please check out some of my preset packs. I have some amazing Zakk tones for Overloud's THU. I also have some spectacular Zakk tones for Kemper. And I've got some great rack preamp tones for IK's ToneX. I'll put links below, check it out. Now Zakk Wylde has always flown the flag for chorus. God bless that man. Stereo chorus in the beginning, and then later he was just running a Boss pedal straight into the front of his amps. Back in the rack era, he was running an SPX 90. It's a great unit, still holds up as a great unit. Maybe a little lo-fi, but it's a cool lo-fi. Michael Wagner, the mixer of No More Tears, said he used the symphonic patch on Zakk's guitars on that. That's a pretty famous patch that was used on a lot of things like Nirvana Nevermind bass, I believe, and you know, it's flown around a lot of stuff. It's a cool patch, but it's a little flangy for me. I think it works well if you just fade it up in the mix, but in the rack, I always wonder, I don't know if Zakk used the symphonic patch in his rack. There are two chorus patches in the SPX 90. There's barely any controls on it. You just go pick chorus, cool, and then how fast you want it, and then how much blend. When you get to the 50% blend, it kind of sounds out of phase. So I'm wondering if he just ran full blast, 100%, and then maybe that's when he brought in the heads and ran the heads more dry, so he had chorus and not really sure, not terribly important. Whatever it was, it sounded amazing, because if you listen to the live Just Say Ozzy, I'm guessing that was his rack, and he used some of the rack, I believe, on No Rest for the Wicked. I have a whole video talking about that story. You should check that out if you haven't. So let's take a listen to some chorus patches in this mix here. We're going straight through the SPX 90. It would be better to use a sub-mixer, but you know, I'm just getting the sound, so it's no big deal. Symphonic, here's symphonic. It's at 100% by default. See how flangy and swirly that is? It's just like too much, right? Then we go to 50%. Still feels so soupy. And now it doesn't feel like it has chorus. So, yeah, I don't know if symphonic works the best in this sort of capacity. Here's chorus A. Man, there's always that sort of flangy element to it. This one I think is not too bad. Pretty chorusy, but not bad. Here's the parameters. Mod Ferk, which is speed, I believe. Yeah. Mod depth. Oh, I kind of like it up at 100. With lower balance, depth up. Maybe I cracked the code. That's the better way to do it. Depth up, mix down. There we go. So back to the secret weapon. Zakk says he's using his Wild Audio heads, which I think are pretty much 800s, and then he's using 800s also. But I thought it was really interesting that he brought out this Aphex 104, presumably to kind of get a more dime bag, hefty sound. You know, I haven't seen it in any of his other racks. Although, look at this rack from the Pride and Glory era, and maybe this is just after No More Tears. In the rack, there's a couple pieces that are in reverse, like they're mounted in the back of the rack, so you can't see what they are. They're hiding back there, much like he was hiding it behind the plexiglass. So I'm wondering if he's been using this Aphex 104 for ages, and it's one of his secrets, and then people go like, I can't get my 800 to sound that huge, especially when you put a Boss SD1 in front of it, which leans it out even more and kind of makes it a little more, you know, nasal. You gots to have that Aphex 104. So that is the Zakk Wylde tone secret that he's been keeping from us all. If you like these videos, click subscribe, click the thumbs up, and check out these other Zakk related videos for you to enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you later.